In just 20 hours a week, making hats like this one here can bring in some serious cash without you having to quit your job. I'm talking over 10K a month, all on the side. But guys, it gets better. It could all be done with just a single machine taking up space in the corner of a spare room. We've been in the embroidery business for over 5 years, and we scaled up from a single machine to over 11 industrial multi-needles that you can see behind me here. We run these machines 8 to 12 hours a day, Monday through Friday, sometimes Saturday. But guys, you don't need a massive setup like the one I have here. With just a single investment to a machine like this, you could be well on your way to running a highly profitable business. Today, I'm gonna go over exactly what you need to do to start a hat embroidery business. From the supplies, to making the hat, to the most important thing, selling the hat for some big profits. Stick around, because at the end, I'm gonna show you exactly how much money you can make by doing this. And once again, I'm gonna be the nicest creator in the world, and I'm gonna leave chapters down below for your viewing pleasure. But if you can, watch to the very end, I'll love you for it. All right, so you must be asking, why hats? Out of all the things you could embroider, why are we choosing to embroider on hats? Well, hats, guys, are one of the best selling items, and for good reason. They have very high demand. We're talking businesses, brands, and everyday people all want custom hats. They have crazy profit margins. We're talking high end. We're talking top of the line profit margins. Once you have a machine, they're extremely cheap to make, and they sell for a very high premium, pretty much across all marketplaces. Starting out won't quite realize it yet, but they take up so much less space than hats, sweatshirts, and hoodies. So they take a whole lot less space to store as well. But I bet you're thinking, you see a lot of people with embroidery machines. It must be a stiff competition. And yeah, there is competition. There's competition everywhere. But with hats, for some reason, people are scared off. They won't touch hats. So if you get over the fear of most embroiderers and learn how to do these hats, you'll be on your way. And because of that small learning curve, people just avoid hats at all costs. So the competition on these are probably lower than any embroidery item there is. Maybe. But like I said, there is a small learning curve, so you will have to get the hang of hooping. But once you get the hang of hooping the hat and dial in the right setup, it's really straightforward. This is why I think embroidering hats is the easiest way to start a profitable embroidery business. And of course, we all like easy. Now let's go over exactly what you need to get started. First, an embroidery machine. You're gonna need a multi-needle. It's the only thing really suitable for doing hats, especially structured hats like the one I'm wearing now. You could get away with doing dad hats on a single needle by laying it flat. Since there's no structure to it, it's possible. It's hard though, I wouldn't suggest it. It's much easier to hoop one on this and get going that way. And to be honest, this thing is much quicker than a single needle, and when it comes to running a business, that's pretty important. But here's the kicker, guys. Embroidery machines are not cheap. They cost thousands. And that's why we suggest starting off with a buy embroidery machine. They're one of the cheapest machines on the market. Most people that own them have great experiences. We do, we have 11, haven't had an issue with one head yet. That hasn't been resolved at least. These are the most affordable machines on the market that I would trust with my business. And of course, you're gonna need some hats. This right here is a Decky hat. Pretty high quality hat, suitable, comparable to a Richardson 112. Structured hats here seem to be the scariest hats, and that's what keeps everyone from doing embroidered hats. But they also seem to sell the best in my opinion. In this video, I'm gonna show you exactly how we stitch this hat on this machine here behind me. The By Vision, it's the brand new model they just came out with. If you are afraid to run structured hats on your machine, definitely start off with some dad hats or even the foam hats. It will be a good intro. It'll teach you how to hoop the hat, way more forgiving on you than running structured hats. It'll help you build the confidence to lean into the heart of structured hats. It's just like anything else, baby steps, and you'll get where you need to be eventually. So you also need some embroidery supplies. Your machine should come with most, but if you need any, you'll need embroidered thread and of course backing for the backside to hold that thread in there nice and tight. And lastly, you'll need a cool design, something that you like, but you'll need to get it digitized. You'll have to find a digitizer, or you could go on to a platform like Etsy and find designs that are suitable for hats. Make sure that if you find a digitizer, make sure you ask them that they know how to digitize for hats. It takes a special digitizer. They're not all made the same. All right, man. I think we got everything we need now. Let's go ahead, let's hoop up a hat and show you how we make them. Okay guys, so step one, let's hoop the hat. We have our backing. This is special backing, especially for hats. So we're gonna stick that on the inside there. And make sure that it's centered. There's a line here in the middle here. Go off that. When you're running single needles, it's not that important because you'll be able to adjust it on the machine to make sure that you got it perfectly straight. But if you were running a multi-head and you had to run multiple hats at once, you want to make sure they're all hooped exactly the same, or you might have issues. Actually, you will have issues. They won't all look the same. Okay, there you go. The hat is hooped, ready to go. It's nice and tight. All right, so if your hat isn't tight in the hoop, your stitches will shift and the design will come out messy and you'll just end up throwing away hats. So keep that in mind. Get it hooped. You'll probably go through a few hats before you hoop it right. And let me see if you can see the backing on the inside. All right, you can. I'm gonna throw it on the machine and let's start stitching. All right, next, let's get it hooped on the machine. I already have the design loaded into the machine, so we're stitching out a nice red E for the channel. Just makes sense, right? Okay, so let's go ahead, get it on. Show you how I do it. Make sure that it's secure. And to make sure that your hat is nice and in there, you just tap the locks. If you tap the locks and they don't move, it's nice and locked in. You want to make sure it's locked in. And so the hat is set up for digitizing. We just gotta make sure that it's nice and centered, or we gotta make sure the design is nice and centered, and let's go ahead, run this machine. Oh, and just to mention, I have a nice sharp needle. It's actually the needles that come with the machine. For flat embroidery, I use ball tip and a little bit smaller needles. For hats, you wanna use sharp and having the nice, having a little bit bigger needles. Not gonna hurt you. So that's tracing the design. That is showing you exactly where it's going to be, so it'll be in the center of that. All right, I'm going to get it lined up, but I can't do that while holding the camera. One moment. Green is to go. Design is centered. Let's run it. Okay guys, so the hat finished embroidering, but we're not done. Final steps, we're just gonna clean this up. There's some loose threads in here, and then on the back, on the inside here, some loose threads. So we'll take off that backing. We use rip away, so you just gotta rip it out. I'll just show you right here. Oh, look, I accidentally used multiple backings. So it just rips right out. Super easy. We're gonna go ahead and go in there with some scissors and trim it up nicely. You could also, if you just, for the ease, especially when you're doing a lot of hats, you could go ahead and just hit it all with a lighter. Just run a lighter over it. It'll take care of most loose threads. If you have really long ones, trim it first. But after that, hit it with the lighter and you'll be solid. It'll also tighten up any loose stitching too. Okay, so after that, it's off the hoop. All you have to do now is, like I said, clean it up, throw it in a box, slap a label on it, and ship. You can do all that in under 15 minutes, guys. So that's easy, 15 minutes a hat, all with the single needle. You could get 4 done an hour, no problem. So now that we have all these amazing hats, where do we sell them? Well guys, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. A great place to sell these hats is on Etsy. Any online marketplace is gonna work for you. Offering something as simple as personalization, like adding initials on the hat, dates for weddings, whatever it is, offering any kind of customization on Etsy is a way to bring in money fast. But with Etsy or any big online marketplace, the competition is fierce. So that may force you to bring the price down just a tad so you could compete and stand out in a crowded marketplace. Of course though, if you don't want to sell on Etsy, there are other options. You can work on growing a Instagram and sending them to your website. There you'll be able to sell for full price retail, and there's no other competition when they go to your website. So you're the only one there. It might take you longer to get the ball rolling, but then you're skipping the middleman of Etsy. You do have to still pay out Shopify. You have to pay someone for your website. But having that social media presence really makes your brand personal, and they can see how you make it and that it's made by hand. Well, machine, but your hands touch it, right? Another thing you could do, you could reach out directly to businesses, locally to businesses, restaurants, gyms, coffee shops, landscapers, barber shops. Pretty much everyone I know needs custom hats, guys. Little League, kids soccer, kids football, they all need it, guys. They all need it. I mean, you can even check out the local pop-up markets. Selling at markets could be a quick way to make some cash in your pocket. And personally, I think out of all the markets we've been to, hats have been our best selling product, especially during those hot summer months. People are willing to drop 30 bucks on a hat. We've made over 2K in a single day selling hats at a market. So very profitable item. Everyone loves hats. Pretty much everyone loves hats. And guys, this is really, when it comes down to it, just scratching the surface of what you could do with, of where you could sell and make money with hats. And like I said, if you have an embroidery machine, hats isn't the only thing you could do. You could go so much further with your embroidery business. It's just a good entry point to make it profitable at the very beginning in the least amount of time with the least amount of machines. Okay guys, so the moment you've been waiting for, if you didn't already skip ahead, if you've been watching the whole time, thank you again. The moment you've been waiting for. How much money can we actually make doing this exact side hustle and business model I laid out for you? So let's say we're selling a single embroidery hat for $30, which is a very affordable hat. And I've seen most people are selling them for more than that. But let's say, since you have the machine, you could beat most people's prices and you're selling them for 30 bucks a hat. If you make 4 hats per hour, you're looking at $120 in gross revenue. $120. Maybe I'll put it up here, maybe I won't. I don't know. But if your machine runs 20 hours a week, that's $2,400 a week you're gonna be running on that machine. And if you do the math, guys, that's over 10K. So you're gonna hit 10K a month working 20 hours a week at home. Not bad. 20 hours a week, part-time at home. All from a corner of your room. But of course, guys, there are costs. So I want to be upfront with you. I want to let you know the expenses. A blank hat costs around $6. Thread and backing, you're looking at another $1 or $2. Let's just say $2 to keep the math simple. So your total cost, not counting the machine, is $8 per hat. That means your net profit, that's how much you're gonna be taking home, is $22 per hat, which in turn is $88 an hour. And of course, that's if we're just doing 4 hats an hour. You could do more, you could do less. Now to finally add that up, over 20 hours a week for a month, you're still profiting net profit a month over $8,000. $8,000. That's more than what this machine costs. So your machine is gonna be paid off that first month, if you get that many sales. It'll be paid off that first month working 20 hours a week part-time. And that, my friend, is why embroidery is such a profitable side hustle. It's a very powerful side hustle. Low cost, high demand, and insane scalability. I mean, look around. Now, of course, it's easy to look at these numbers on paper and they look freaking amazing. But your primary focus when starting your business should be learning how to sell. This machine, the machine itself is not gonna bring in the money. Well, hopefully you learned something. YouTube thinks this video here will help you bring in more sales.